Hello everybody and welcome back. Now this is the part 2 tutorial of the Nmap program. In the previous one I basically just show you what you can do with an IP address and what information you can gather only by knowing someone's IP address. And we also ran a simple scan on the Nmap scanme.org website, which basically allows us to do the scan there, so you should only be scanning either that site or any machine you do own, since Nmap scans could be illegal in your country. Also, before we begin, I just want to, let me just type here once again Nmap to show all the available options. Let me perform the same scan we did before, which is just Nmap scanme.nmap.org. And basically, if you wanted to, for example, write this to a file, you just specify two arrows right here, and then we call the file results.txt, for example. Now, this will take, as previous time, a few seconds, and it won't give us the output right here. It will basically save all of the output into a results.txt file. So it is useful if you, for example, run this scan for multiple hours and you don't need to keep the terminal open in order to see the scan. You can just basically save it into a file and you can access it anytime and anywhere. So you don't, for example, run a scan on multiple hosts and run it for 5 hours and then you accidentally close the terminal and basically the entire scan is lost and you need to redo it once again. So as you can see right here, the scan has finished and it hasn't given us any output. So let me just clear the screen and type here ls. And as you can see right here, we have the results.txt file. If we get that results.txt file, we will get the same output that we got in the previous video with our results printed out into this file. Now, since we know that, we can delete this file right now and we can type here nmap once again. Now, I won't be scanning the scanme.nmap.org anymore. I will be scanning basically my Windows machine right now. So you can continue scanning this site. You can also scan the Metasploitable that we installed in the previous lectures. And you can also scan your host machine. Now, let me just show you. You can also scan yourself if we just check our IP address right here. 192.168.1.6 and you type here 192.168.1.6. I don't believe any port. Yeah, all ports, all 1000 scan ports are closed. So on this Kali Linux virtual machine I'm not having any port open, and that should be on yours as well, for now on at least. And as I said in the previous video, the Nmap only scans the top 1000 used ports. So if you want to, for example, specify the number of ports you want to scan, or for example you want to scan all 65,000 ports, let me just find the option. Here it is, port specification and scan order. We can do that with -p. So how we do that? Well, basically we just type here nmap -p and then we type here 1 to 65,000 and we can just do 65,000 or we can do all 65,535. I believe that's how many there are. And then we specify again our own IP address, and this will take longer to finish, but instead of scanning only 1000 ports, it will scan all 65,535 ports. And it will finish relatively fast since we are scanning ourselves and it only finished in 1.5 seconds. So now we won't be scanning ourselves anymore since there is no point, so let me just find out what the IP address of my Windows machine is. So I will type here in my command prompt ipconfig, and the IP address of my host machine is 192.168.1.4. So I will just type here nmap 192.168.1.4 and let's see how fast this will finish. It shouldn't take too much of our time. So let me just check here. Alright, it will finish and we can see there are a few ports open right here. The NetBIOS, SSN, Microsoft DS and MS RPC, which are these three ports. They are all three open. As you can see, they're all over TCP. Now, for example, let's scan again my host machine. But right now, let us scan all 65,000 ports. So 65,535, I believe that's the maximum number of ports. And we type here the IP address of our Windows machine. Now let me just, oh yes, I only specified that this should scan this port. I should specify a range of ports, so 1-65,535, and we press here enter. Now this will take a little bit longer than the 1000 port scan, so let us see where it is right now. Yeah, it is only on 4%. You can check out the process of scan with the upper arrow. If you didn't specify right here the -V, which stands for the verbose, which will basically just print you this right here as it goes with the scan. I didn't specify it, so it doesn't print anything before the scan. So let me just show you. We will finish this so we don't wait until it's over. So let me just put here, so let's just type Nmap once again, and we can see right here that the -V command stands for increase verbosity level, use double V, which is basically -VV, in order to see more details. So let's run the same command, but with 1000 ports. So let me just type here nmap 192.168.1.4, and basically just double V. So here you can see that as it goes with the scan, it prints out the information, and at the end it prints out the same thing that it printed out before. So here we can see as it went, it concluded that there is one host that is up, and as it discovered the open ports, it printed out for us. Now this can be useful if you want to find out open ports on a host that will take an hour to scan, or for a range of hosts. So let me just show you how you can scan a range of hosts. For example, let's scan your entire local network. You can see right here that the second command in the examples shows us how to specify the range of hosts. So as you can see right here, 192.168.0.0/16. This will basically scan the first 16 hosts in the local network. Now, we know in my local network, since my subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, there are only 255 hosts available, so we will just specify all of them. Let me just type here nmap, and then we'll type here 192.168.1.1/255. And let us just put here the F, the capital F, which stands for basically doing this scan faster, so we do not waste a lot of time. So let me just press enter right here. Now let me just check once again, since this didn't work. Maybe I specified wrong. Well, basically gave me some error. Let me just redo this command, but not like this. Let me just type here instead of slash minus. So right now it should work. But let's also add the option verbosity. So it prints us everything as it goes. We can see that it actually finished relatively fast. That is probably because we specified right here the -F option, which basically makes the scan finish faster. And we can see that all of these hosts are down. We can see that between these two there was one that is up, which is .15. That is my laptop that is currently running. So as we go down here, it should we found our router. Here it is. So 192.168.1.1. It also found our Windows host machine, which is my current Windows 10 machine as my host operating system. As you can remember, here are the 3 open ports on my host machine. It found my laptop, which only has the Apache 2 running on the HTTP port over TCP. And it also found our virtual machine, which is 192.168.1.6, which has none of the ports open. So the Nmap result finished with 255 IP addresses scanned, and 4 hosts were up, scanned in 6.06 seconds. Now, let's also, for example, if you want to write that into a file, you can do that with the double arrow command and also into the results.txt. As we saw in the previous video, it won't give you any output, but it will write your scan into the results.txt file, so you don't have to redo the scan once again later if you close the terminal. So it should finish in a few seconds, I believe, and we will have a file with all 255 machines scanned. As you can see, it has finished, and if we get the results.txt, we will get the same output as in the previous scan. Now, this is about it for this lecture. We will continue with some of the more aggressive scans and more specified and detailed scans in the next lecture, which will also be Nmap. We will cover how to get the version of a software running on a specific port. For example, we will find out how to get the version of my Apache 2 on my laptop, which is running over HTTP. As you can see right here, we don't get the version specified, but it is an important option because it allows us to find out the version of a software which can be used in order for us to find out any vulnerabilities for that particular software. So I hope I see you in the next lecture, and take care.